Effective March 31st, 26, the Immigration Department will accept 0 applications under the Caregiver pilot projects. Although this program has been put on hold without any indication when it is going to reopen, I would like to bring to your attention the available options for caregivers, remind you to continue educating yourself, follow on immigration changes, news, and encourage you to look at plans A, B, and C maybe. My name is Milmantas. I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant located in Toronto, Ontario. On December 2025, the Government of Canada announced to pause all new intakes under the Caregiver pilots until further notice, and the decision was published in Canada Gazette as an official policy direction. Immigration has chosen not to reopen the March 2026 intake. The pause affects both the childcare and home support worker programs. Applications submitted in 2025 will continue to be processed. And however, if you were intending to apply, there is no announcement whether the program will reopen in 2027, which means the program has been put on hold indefinitely. But maybe later at the end of the year, immigration will announce the reopening, but we never know. Reasons for the pause. The Immigration Department has stated that the decision is operational and inventory based, and because due to the increased processing times, the immigration decided to make a priority for the applications that already were submitted. And because this pause aligns with temporary resident volumes in Canada, program effectiveness, and of course, immigration levels plan. And therefore, based on this announcement, caregivers in Canada should consider other steps, other options, if applicable. Even if you meet the eligibility requirements, you will not be able to apply in 2026. You will therefore need to either wait until the program reopens, we don't know when, if at all, or assess alternative pathways based on your specific circumstances and assess your plan A, B, and maybe plan C. If you're working already in Canada as a caregiver, you should ask yourself a question: if extending a work permit and waiting for the program to reopen is a safe strategy for you. Let's look at a couple of scenarios. If you are working on a postgraduate work permit, your employer will need to apply for a labor LMIA for you to continue working for that employer. If you are already working on an LMIA-based work permit, your employer will most likely be subject to compliance and labor market conditions review if another LMIA is required. Some caregivers may qualify through provincial nominee programs, but these programs are very competitive and may not exist in all the provinces and may be limited to healthcare occupations only. Others may consider express entry, but this program favors applicants with higher education credentials, strong language scores, and is geared actually towards younger applicants. Younger caregivers might consider gaining higher education, improving English, or learning French. So therefore, plan your pathway carefully, adjust and readjust, and stay informed. For some middle-aged workers, this program was not simply an option. This was the only option. For many years, this model served as a combined PR and work permit strategy, and historically, it was considered a predictable pathway to permanent residence. However, the predictability is no longer there. Also, potential applicants residing outside Canada who were preparing and waiting for the opening of the program in 2027, consider upgrading education, improving language, English or French, or learning either English or French based on your primary language, and consider plan A, B, and C. Now, a little bit of fun facts. Maybe these facts are not that fun. I'm a little bit facetious regarding the caregiver pilot timeline. On February 28, 25, Immigration published the eligibility requirements for caregiver worker pilots. And the pilots were supposed to continue for 5 years, as it is used in the past. Now we know that is not longer the case. At that time, the department announced two streams, for workers in Canada and for workers outside Canada. Only the workers in Canada stream opened on March 31st, 2025. The stream for applicants outside Canada was scheduled to open in March of 2027, but at the end of September 25, it quietly was put on hold. On December 2025, the department formally paused all new intakes under the caregiver pilots until further notice. That's it for this time, ladies and gentlemen. If you find this information valuable and you know somebody that might benefit from this, I kindly ask you to share, and until the next time, all the best. I would also like to briefly remind you regarding the restrictions on the LMIA-based work permits, which came into effect in June 2019, which directed officers not to process new caregiver work permits if the applicant for a national resided outside Canada, the job was located outside Quebec, and the LMIA application was submitted after June 18, 2018. This ministerial instruction was further clarified in December of the same year that visitors already in Canada are not eligible for LMIA-based work permit, and only applicants who have valid study or work permits are eligible for an LMIA-based work permit for caregivers.